All the rolling go, where am I to go? Meet Johnny, where am I to go? For I'm a young and a sailor lad, and where am I to go?
Hello, and welcome to Where Am I to Go podcast. Today we are in Big Timber, Montana, right off of Interstate 90, kind of halfway between Laurel or Billings and Bozeman. It's a smaller community. How many people?
About 1,600 in the town itself.
Okay, so it's a smaller community, but there is a lot here. We are at the Crazy Mountain Museum, and we are with Jeannie, and she's going to take us through and talk to us about this museum. It's a museum that I've been by a lot of times. I visited probably 15, 20 years ago. I was impressed with it then, and just walking through the front door, I'm even more impressed now.
Good.
So, welcome Jeannie to Where Am I to Go podcast, and let's get started.
Okay. Walking in the door, this is the first thing you run into, and this is our diorama of Big Timber.
And it is a big diorama. This thing's probably, 20 feet long or 15 feet long and about 10 feet wide, and it has all of the buildings that...
On McLeod Street. It's the center part of town in 1907.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
1907.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get...
A good picture.
Yeah, because reflecting off of the glass, but...
And how many of these buildings are still standing?
Quite a few of them. This whole block here, the churches, this is the Lutheran church just being built, the Episcopal church, it's on the historical registry. This house is still there, and the Congregational church. Our old, that gray apartment building now, our old high school just burnt down a couple, 3 years ago. Yeah, children.
Children?
No, well, yeah.
Is this built to scale?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the
About
streets...
1/16th, I think someone told me. That's the McLeod Street, the main street of town that goes through. But these four houses are all still here. That one's been remodeled. Mm-hmm. The White House with the red trim, that's the first frame house in town.
Really?
Yeah. And then in '08, this block here burned. Sparks from a fire at the railroad tracks blew up into town,
Really?
Caught this block on fire, so it had to be rebuilt. The stone walls were left on the big building there on the end, but the rest of it was rebuilt. They used Sanborn fire insurance maps. That over on that wall there shows the orange buildings were the ones that were burned.
Okay.
Now, that's interesting that you bring that up. Dang it, I got something in my throat. The Sanborn insurance maps, you can go back in and find those for almost every single town, and you can see the way that the town laid out and some of that. I've used that at our local town to look at what businesses were in play, through different points in time.
Different eras,
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. This was 6 years from start to finish with researching and finding pictures of the different buildings and, like I said, going through the insurance and all the different articles and stuff.
Wow.
But Orvin Fieri is the builder, and Bev Josephson was the painter. She painted all it. It's all hand-built. There's no kits.
Really?
Yeah. They did order, from hobby places in Billings and in Germany, the little animals, the little figurines, and the train tracks, that kind of stuff. But he has hand-built the rest of this. They were really, really involved in this museum and getting it built and put together.
And the detail to the buildings is phenomenal.
It is. Well, she was a miniature artist.
Oh, we've done two different miniature museums, one in Roswell, New Mexico, and one in Tucson, and just absolutely fascinating that people can take that much detail.
I know it.
And build.
I know it. And the women's club and different people helped them with building trees and laying it out and putting in roads. And if you notice, the roads even have tracks from the carts and wagons and things.
And gravel. And it's really detailed.
Yeah. And we do scavenger hunts for the whole museum and for this diorama.
Oh, really?
And adults and children love it. 'Cause
Oh, I'm sure.
This is built for children to stand on
Okay.
and hang on to the brass so they can
The
get
brass
up
rail
close
that
and
goes
look.
all the way around.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this was built by Mr. Rickert.
Okay. Mr. Rickert, we'll go with that.
Roy Rickert built this. He was a cabinet maker. They had a cabinet business here in town before his health.
Yeah, this is just amazing. You can look. There's a stagecoach running down the road.
The first car.
The first car.
One and only car in Big Timber in that year.
Wow. Were you guys started as a railroad town or rail stop, or what's
yeah.
the?
It was this Big Timber was moved from down below.
Okay.
Near where the boulder runs into the Yellowstone.
Okay.
There was a town, Dornix. That's what started, and there was a ferry across the river and stuff like that. And that's where Lewis and Clark
Came
across the rivers across.
Okay.
They called it Rivers Across. And the railroad, when they were laying, the train had to stop at Dornix, but then they had an uphill to get going. So they moved, the railroad itself moved the station up on higher level.
Okay.
So they didn't have that uphill start from stop.
It's kind of interesting. There's been we've done several museums where they have moved the town.
Yeah.
It was kind of a common thing.
Oh, I know what they
guess.
pick. And with horses and wagons, they'd pick up whole buildings and just move them, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's quite the feat for different.
You don't see houses moving down the road
No, they
anymore.
just rebuild. I mean, once in a while people save these fabulous old houses and move them, but
you had whole towns that
towns,
like mining towns
yeah.
that went under or whatever, and they'd pack up the houses and move them to different places, and it must have been quite the deal back in the day.
But the scavenger hunt thing is really fun. It keeps kids occupied for a long, long time.
I would imagine.
Which one?
So
That's a high school.
Oh, okay.
That's the old high school that burned down.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually added on to. This was the original handmade cement blocks, or the big blocks.
Yeah.
And then how this side juts out, they
Yes.
added on to the other side the exact same way.
Okay.
And then faced it with brick. And it was the coolest old building. It was so fun. Had a big old balcony, and my locker was up on the balcony, and it was the old auditorium library, and it was just such a fun building. And it was falling to wreck and ruin, and kids were getting in it and messing with things, and somebody had to have a fire in there, and burned it down. And our library sits on this block here, Carnegie Library, which is on the National Registry too. And they had to have a fire truck in the alley keeping that Carnegie Library soaked to keep it from burning. Yeah. So they had a little bit of smoke and water they had to deal with, but the library soaked. Just the backside of it.
I love the town like this. I wish it was still like this.
I do too. It's so cute.
I love
Yeah. But yeah, there's still a lot of it. So, this house is up for sale, and it's over 120 years old.
Wow.
1907, it's almost 120 years old.
we took a drive through town last night. I've never been into Big Timber, but it's a nice town.
It's a pretty little
It's a very
town.
nice little town.
And you can see, there weren't all these trees up here. The trees were along the river, but there's a lot of nice plantings in town, and trees having to be replaced all the time because they've reached their limit.
You have to replant.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool layout. And then also in this lobby, you've got a gun collection of several, it looks like percussion and revolvers.
This was the collection of Colonel Haida Cooper, and he had the ranch north of Melville. And this was his collection, and he donated it to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And so it sat in the courthouse upstairs between the two courtroom doors. for a lot of years. As long as I could remember. I always remember seeing it. And then the sheriff's office, the sheriff's department donated it to the museum.
This is a better place for it because probably more people show up at the
Everybody can
museum
see it.
instead of at the
Yeah,
courthouse.
and we can all share it. And, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's really, really cool.
it is.
Yes. And you've got another collection on the other side
Yeah,
also.
and well, we had to reorganize and clean upstairs, and we found several different guns upstairs, so we brought them in here, and then this has been added on too also. Different family,
Right.
old guns families have had. So, because, what are they going to do with them? There's a lot of them you can't shoot. You're taking your life in your hands doing that.
Well, and then what better place to put it? I mean, the private collections are cool because you get to go downstairs and look at it yourself.
Yeah.
But the public collections,
Yeah,
it's so much
we need
nicer
them.
for people to be able to see that stuff.
And this is our Pioneer Gallery, and these 3 cases in here, we do rotate, but the rest of this is permanent.
And you've got lots of pictures on the wall. You've got maps. You've
and
got
there's-
stories.
Yes, different histories of the family, starting from A to, I don't think we quite reached Z, but all the way around the room alphabetically is
Oh, really?
families that homesteaded before 1895. Because there's so many that they couldn't even get them all. They had to put a cutoff date on it.
Wow.
And this is a chair from Mr. Heidecooper's, Wallace Heidecooper's estate, and he had donated it to the Lutheran Church, and then they donated it to us. So,
That's a pretty ornate chair.
yeah, it
to
looks
say
like
the
a
least.
throne.
It does look like a throne. And then you've got a spinning wheel, you've got a pump organ, a case with a lot of silver.
Yeah,
I'd say silverware, but people are going to think of
not forks and spoons and knives.
We're
No,
talking
this is
silver serving.
a hot chocolate pot.
There you go.
Coffee urn. Tea sets. This is a beautiful liquor cabinet
Yes.
set that sits inside that box.
Oh, inside that box.
Yeah, but we
Wow.
couldn't, because of the shelf, we couldn't have the lid of the box open.
So you
We had
could
to
see it.
separate it. Yeah.
And you've got a hair wreath, which
gosh.
I love hair wreaths. They're one of my addictions
It's kind
or
of creepy, but it's so awesome. How in the world? It looks like it's crocheted almost. And we just got that this year.
did you?
Yeah. One of our local school teachers, she taught for, oh my gosh, I'll bet 40 years. I can't remember for sure. And this was part of her estate. Her family donated it.
I would love to
So-
have one of those in my house.
Yeah,
It's just
I got to get it up off the floor, but I've got to rearrange all of these guys first.
right.
Are these guys part of this?
No, this family, it's the Bealey family.
Okay.
And Amelia Rudd was the one, I think, that made it.
Usually it has something to do with genealogy, the different hair in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
We-
I see.
we
I haven't
had-
researched it that much.
Independence, Missouri has a hair museum.
Wow.
And she's got probably 200 or 300, maybe 500, just tons of these things.
Yeah.
And I went there and I wasn't going to pay to go in. I just wanted to, if it was going to be really expensive, because who's interested in hair, right?
I know it, right.
I got in there. I couldn't whip the $15 out of my pocket fast
Oh, I
enough to
know
go
it.
look at these wreaths.
It's fascinating.
And not only that, but they also braided watch
And there were
bands
mourning,
Right.
M-O-U-R,
yeah,
M-O-U-R-N, yeah. Mourning jewelry was made of hair too.
right. But a lot of these are generational to where you've got grandma's hair, great grandma's hair, and all of that because
that's
photography wasn't available
Oh,
at the
yeah.
time, so that they would keep these hair pieces. And
I know it, and that bird,
that
wonderful.
bird, wow,
Yeah, that bird at the top.
yes.
And all the flowers. It's just so intricate.
And I've talked about a lot of these on my podcast because every time I see them, I'm totally intrigued with
There's
the
one
detail
in
that they can
Virginia
get.
City, in the museum in Virginia City. There's a hair wreath
Okay,
up there.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've run into several singles, but like I
Yeah.
said, the hair museum in Independence is we haven't been able to do a podcast there because the lady, I think, is old and doesn't keep it open very much anymore.
Yeah.
But if you can ever find a time to get in there, it is just amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
And then you've got stories of all these different people that
The different families and a lot of
homesteaded
pictures of their homes and
the farms and the farm machinery. You've got one of stacking hay, different horse and
a lot
homestead
of,
pictures.
family photos themselves of the different people.
Norwegian clergy collar. Wow.
The Lutheran Church at Melville, which is just 20 miles north of us on Highway 191, it was the first Norwegian Lutheran church in Montana.
Okay.
And it started out as a little log building. And that's the church now. Well, now it's been added on to, they've got a hall added onto it here. But this is a lot of photographs. You see a lot of photographs of this church.
Okay.
With the crazy mountains behind them.
Right. And you were telling us why they were named the Crazy Mountains. You guys said at the Crazy Mountains.
Well,
give us the quick.
Okay. We had a deputy sheriff in town here, John Frost, and he was part Indian. His mother was Crow Indian, and his father was an English doctor. And they had Crow allotment land near Grey Cliff.
Okay.
And he was our deputy for several years, then moved to Pryor with, which one? I always get the name wrong.
He moved to Pryor and then?
No, the name of...
With the chief. Plenty Coop.
Oh, Plenty Coop, okay.
Plenty Coop.
Yeah.
And became a minister. He was a minister. But he was the liaison between Washington, D.C. and Plenty Coop.
Okay.
I was in the museum in Pryor, and the gentleman there was telling me that Washington, D.C., the president, whoever, would call the store in Pryor. They would send someone to get John Frost. John Frost would talk to whoever was calling, relay the message to Plenty Coop, and then call back.
Okay, that's not a recipe of miscommunication waiting to happen, is it?
But as he was a sheriff here, this was Crow Reservation, and he talked to a lot of the old Crow Indians, why they were named the Crazy Mountains. And he said it's because of the weather and the geology of them, and the Crow named them Mad Mountains.
Okay.
It's a big, long word that means Mad Mountain.
Okay.
But the weather is crazy. They're a geological upthrust that's not part of the Rocky Mountain chain. They're a lot younger than the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, really?
They're separate. I saw a coffee table book somewhere, and I've been trying to find it, that talks about the Crazy Mountains, and they're the only island of mountains on the continent, solely isolated all by themselves, separate from the Rockies.
Really?
And the other chains. It's not part of any chain of mountains.
Wow. I had no clue.
Geological upthrust.
I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, we used to have
And did they have any idea what caused it?
just
the upthrust?
Yeah. Well, the Grey Cliff are an old lava flow.
Okay.
You know, way back, you find fossils, sea fossils all over here.
Right.
Ferns and plants and fish and mollusks and natural bridge. You find coral in the rocks.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. So, but then we got a Native American display, and all of our local businesses was in that section. We had to move them to these panels so we could house that Native American collection. So our businesses are in here too.
This is really cool.
We added
You've got all these
military.
placards that would, or what would have been on the front of the stores, or
and
in the
advertising
advertising
from
in
the papers, yeah.
newspapers. From
all the
wow,
different
stage drivers,
all the different
coal,
grocery stores.
Bear Creek coal, elevators,
When I was a
liveries.
kid, Main Street had 4 grocery stores on Main Street.
Yeah.
In town.
What do you have now?
We have
One.
one grocery store and a dollar store that you can get some groceries at, but no fresh produce. There were meat markets separate from the grocery store.
And bakeries.
And bakeries. Oh, yeah.
Isn't it crazy how we've outsourced ourselves so
and
extremely?
Now you go to Costco or
Right.
Walmart or, the big stores to get what you need, and it's kind of sad.
As we were talking a little bit earlier before we started, we've lost community.
We have.
And to me, it's sad that we've
Yeah.
lost community. We're not in touch with our neighbors anymore, or a lot of that. And the local businesses are what kept everything afloat.
Yeah. And everybody knew everybody.
Yes.
Well, this is kind of funny because where the hair wreath came from, Marion Bealey was the teacher. This was from her, and she and her father found this out in the field.
Really, 1
Yeah.
mile to Montana Trading Company, hardware wagons, carriages, big timber.
And it's an old sign. So
I love that
framed
sign.
it to save it.
Oh, man.
So, people bring in odds and ends all the time, and we try to find a spot a corner that we can keep it out so it's not stuck away.
Right.
It's really hard, though, because we have run out of space, literally.
And then you've got pictures, paintings.
Old photographs, different paintings, like these 3 are all of the crazies, and that's the natural bridge falls up the boulder.
Okay.
But this is one of Jack Hines's paintings.
Okay.
And it goes with homesteading. So these are our homesteaders.
This is really kind of a interesting painting. It's a homestead picture. You've got a horse with 2 young colts, really young colts.
Twin mules.
Twin mules. Okay, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
We've got some sheep over on the side. We've got a mama hen with a bunch of chicks. We've got a rooster, and then we've got a pregnant lady with her young daughter. So this is almost like a birth type scene. And it looks springy.
However, and there's a few cows up there in the background. Yeah.
But I don't see any calves with the cows.
No,
but I see
not
little
yet.
lambs with little lambs with sheep. It's neat the way he put that all together.
Yeah, and he used all local people as his models.
Oh, really?
All of his and Jessica's models were local.
Okay. Now, was he...
This is that was a girlfriend's horse and her little twin mules
Wow.
that she had. Yeah.
That's so cool. Now, was he a nationally renowned artist, or...
To a certain extent, they came out here because he was a buckskinner. He loved rendezvous. He started coming out here for rendezvous. And see, they were in New York, he and his wife were. He was a commercial artist in New York.
Okay.
And they moved out here, and, they had a business here, a brush business and paintings, and sold prints all over the country. Yeah, of both of their art.
And you said that he's got a lot of art displayed, or you've got a lot of his art displayed in here.
Throughout the museum. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and like Norwegian trunks and an old bench from a dance hall, and then
military uniforms.
Yeah, these military uniforms came in this last year, and it's our first full Navy uniform with everything, the tie, everything. And then the first World War I complete uniform.
Okay.
Sometimes we get the jacket and the pants.
Right.
But we got everything with that.
And what is this little? You've got one that looks like it'd fit about a 6-year-old kid.
A family made it.
Oh, really?
I'm sure they took. I'm not swearing on any Bibles, but I'm sure they took. It
looks like the wool.
An army blanket, an green army wool blanket, and made a uniform for one of the children in the family.
That is. I've never seen one like that. That is so really, really cool.
And look at how pressed it is, and it was it was in a trunk forever and ever.
Right.
It's just so cute.
Wow. And all these advertisements, I love the old advertisements.
I know, they're so
It'd
cool.
be fun to
and we have a lot of
have the time
receipts. We have lots of receipts from some of these different businesses.
Really?
Yeah.
Then you've got a display here with a bunch of women's
And men's.
and men's. Yeah, I guess you've got rings, you've got necklaces, you've got brushes, curling irons,
Yeah,
mirrors.
a shaving kit and maybe polish your shoes up.
Right.
Yeah.
An old sewing machine. And some photography, some old cameras, and old photographs. And,
Oh yeah,
and some books.
family photo albums. Yeah,
Wow.
because there's nobody to take care of them anymore. Kids today don't want any of this stuff.
I know.
They don't care.
It's amazing. And you know, I have a real problem. Basin, Wyoming was the county seat for the whole Bighorn Basin. And our history is gone. We don't even have a museum.
Oh no.
We've got a little case at the courthouse that has some of our history. The rest of it's all been sold on eBay.
Oh yeah.
Or thrown
They're-
in the trash when they remodeled our school.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or combined the school, they took all the trophies to the dump.
You're kidding?
No.
Oh my God. Our high school. I mean, there was a new high school built in 1980, and they took the trophy cases and the different old programs and graduation announcements. They've got trophy cases in the new high school of the old trophies.
Yeah.
You know, they
Why
keep that stuff.
I don't know why they didn't preserve some of that, but
I know it is sad.
the whole county's
Yeah.
whatever is.
Yeah, and this we want, you know, in the new edition, we want a big section for our military. This is just the hallway. And this is all veterans from just Sweetgrass County on these walls. Those charts were all done by Bill Esp. He researched to get all these names, Civil War veterans, Spanish American War, you know, some that were in during wars but not in the war. You know, look at the number of World War II veterans.
That's a lot.
Montana has more veterans per capita than any other state in the country.
Really?
Because Montana,
Well, you're a small population state.
small population, but Montana is more patriotic than a lot of your states.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah, and then, you know, Vietnam, and then all of the Desert Storm in Panama and all that enduring freedom, all that's going on now. Like my children have uncles, grandfather, great uncles, father, brothers, cousins. My son are on these walls.
Really?
Yeah. My dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you've got a small display case, some helmets. One of them has a big hole in it.
Yeah.
I don't think that probably was very
That was a
nice.
German helmet, and that's kind of fun because it was mailed to a family here, like with the tag hanging out of that hole. The
Really?
mailing tag was hanging out of that hole.
Wow.
Yeah. Somebody that had worked on the Aller Family Ranch sent it back to them as a souvenir.
Wow.
And you've got some trench art here. I love trench art. In
I do
fact,
too.
I've collected a couple pieces
Yeah.
myself.
That one has the Three Musketeers on it. It's really hard to see because it's kind of just scratched into it. But these other two are wonderful.
But the way that they molded those
I know it.
and
It's
some
crazy.
of that in the trenches was just a very amazing thing. There's a museum in Arizona, Clarksville, I think. It's by Jerome,
For the copper museum.
where it's a copper museum, and we did a podcast there. They have probably
Clark something. I think it's
Clarkston, maybe it's Clarkston,
yeah.
but it's right there in the Jerome area. They've got hundreds of these trench arts.
They're fun.
You know, everything from small to
A lot
3
of
foot
people
tall.
don't even know about it.
No.
You know, it's the first time they see it because you've got trench art and you've got sheepherder art, you've got prison art.
Right.
You know, people don't realize on
Clarkdale.
Clarkdale?
Clarkdale.
Clarkdale, yes.
That people did all this kind of stuff to keep their hands busy and to keep their minds busy.
Yes.
I didn't know about it until we went to museums and he
Yeah.
was showing them to me. And these things we should learn in school.
I know it. Our grandfather clock decided it's going to work now.
Well, that's cool. We like background noise sometimes.
Yeah, our hand is loose. It won't stay on track. But this scared the bejesus out of our sessionist. The gal that comes in, she was in here alone and this thing went off and it scared her. She got out of here. I said, oh, I'm sorry. Someone wanted to see the grandfather clock and we did one crank.
And it worked?
And it's been running ever since. And it wasn't running before.
It's happy here.
It is happy here.
That's why. Yeah.
But continuing on the art, this is sheep herder art.
Oh, wow.
Carving.
Okay, now we've got carvings of a log sleigh that a horse would have drawn with some branches on it. This is all smaller stuff.
A little canoe.
A little canoe. Chain. How in the world did they carve that chain?
It's a long piece of wood.
And they just carve the inside out.
They carve it link by link, and then you get to the very top, and there's a little tiny ball inside that cage.
That's crazy.
Yeah. This is insane.
And look inside these bottles.
I'm looking inside those bottles.
How do they do that?
I don't know. How do they put ships in bottles?
I thought that they built the ship and then put the bottle around it somehow. I have no idea how they do it.
Yeah.
And little chairs and tables. And so, they were tending the sheep, which would be a very lonely existence because you're out there all by yourself with 1,000 sheep and
a dog.
And a dog, or 10 or something. And
That's cool.
little scales. And when I'm talking small, these chain links are probably 1.5 inches long.
Maybe 2 at the most on this
and
big
maybe 1/4 of an inch link as far as the thickness or diameter of it.
Yeah.
Just
And
amazing.
then these two we're going to bring some of those over to this case because and then this was what somebody called tramp art. But this is more sheep herder art, chip art. It's like some of it's chip art, some of it's tramp art, sheep herder art. This is a huge frame for a wedding picture and a little boy. Isn't that amazing?
The pictures aren't the object. The frame. This frame is
art.
This frame is spectacular. It's multi-layered with different colors of wood.
It
starts
heavy.
off at probably 24 by 24 inches and then narrows its way down like a pyramid.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're looking into a pyramid
Upside down.
Upside down, yes, or laying on your back looking up into a pyramid, and then the pictures are at the very back. And then there's kind of a rafter-looking thing on top with another little picture of a...
But this is a wooden horseshoe. This is a carved horseshoe.
A carved horseshoe.
Yeah. With
This
the
is
little
amazing.
boy.
Yeah, holding a pistol.
So,
Wow.
this is Mr. and Mrs. Abraham Grossfield, and then this is their 5-year-old son, Byron Grossfield, and I knew him.
Okay.
His wife was one of our school teachers. Yeah.
And this is about 1910. Wow.
Christmas in 1910.
It's beautiful.
That is an amazing...
Wouldn't you be so excited to get
frame.
that for a present?
I know, isn't that amazing? But, and that's like getting a crocheted Afghan now or a quilt. Something handmade, people don't realize the hours and work that go into that kind of stuff. My daughter used to get so upset when she'd get something crocheted or, a little crocheted beanie. Well, now she makes them for people. And she makes baby crochet. I had to teach her how to crochet. She makes crocheted baby blankets for her friends.
Right.
And now she's making quilts, and she realizes the love and attention that goes into those handmade gifts.
Right?
Yeah.
And you hope, like heck, that the person you're giving it to has the appreciation.
Oh, yeah.
And so often they don't, But, we went to the territorial prison in Deer Lodge, and they had a bunch of prison art there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Some of it's been beautiful.
And, some horsehair braided halters and some of that
a lot
kind of
of them
stuff.
can sell, you know, they can do that kind of stuff and sell it. See, this is where all of the business stuff was, in the cases and here on the walls, because we use carpeting and Velcro to hang a lot of stuff, so you don't have, you know, because these are movable walls and we can rearrange the furniture.
That's nice.
And it makes it a lot easier. And this is a collection from Paul and Claire Mankhouse. Most of this, there's a few odds and ends that are other people's, but he was allowed to buy this because one of his kids was married to a native, and so he could own a lot of this stuff.
And this is a lot of Native American,
but it's old
artwork.
Historic, yeah,
right.
Historic artwork, yeah.
It's
and like this headdress, the gentleman that made the diorama, this headdress was his, given to him by the Blackfeet.
Oh wow!
Because he was given to him when he was a congressman.
Okay.
He was made an honorary chief because we're not allowed to have eagle feathers.
Right.
You can't have an eagle feather.
And then you've got a big elk hide with a bunch of beadwork
beautiful?
on it. It is beautiful.
And how did they keep that straight? How did they keep that straight? I can't even.
Draw a straight line.
Well, I use a ruler.
Right.
Yeah.
It had to be on a frame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It would. Well, you can see how it was tacked down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they stretched the hide.
Yeah, but it had to have been stretched out
Right.
to work on it.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
think. I don't know.
Keep it straight like that.
I don't know.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
And see, this shows
Some
how
leggings.
how much of this area was Crow Reservation.
Wow, and it just gradually shrunk.
Yeah, it went clear past Miles City, clear down to Lander,
Right.
over to Livingston, part of the park, up to Harlow, Roundup.
And where do we live, Lauren?
We live right there. And that was part of the
Yeah.
reservation. Wow.
And we're right here.
Yeah.
Because Big Timber is basically, we were at the edge of it.
Okay.
Because when people
Wow.
started
And now-
homesteading out here, it was still Crow Reservation.
Okay.
They just squatted on it?
So a lot of the homesteads weren't listed until afterwards. People had been on the land and then finally were able to put in homestead files, the claims.
We just did a podcast in Casper, Wyoming, and I got talking to a guy at the Historic Trails Museum about patenting land and homesteading. They had to go to Oregon City, Oregon in order to get their land patents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the reason so much of it was open range. And when we have about a 20-minute discussion on this,
Yeah.
it's amazing
I know
that
it.
if you wanted to stop on your Oregon trek
Yeah.
and homestead here, you had to go all the way out to Oregon City before you could come back and get
isn't
your
that
land
amazing?
patent.
Yeah.
It is crazy. But yeah, this is you've got some more headdresses down here.
Yeah, those are from the same collection. Then this was found locally on the W.D. Mackenzie Ranch
Wow.
in 1885. So that's a local.
And it's a bag, a medicine bag. Wow.
Yeah, and then this just came in a couple weeks ago, this child's cradle board and doll, and it's all leather and beaded, and it was bought at a yard sale.
What?
Yeah.
Which one?
This one. It was bought at a yard sale, and the gal donated it. Oh. Yeah, and the local gentleman, here's a...
Yeah, this doesn't look like your dime store
Oh, no.
yard sale
Yeah.
item.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and the same gal that brought in this, her husband had brought us this peace pipe.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
I always tell people, thank God for hoarders.
Which one was found on the ranch?
This one here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was found like that. And it, it's still got the paint on it. And there's one at the back that was found near Melville. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 different collections mixed here. That's my favorite.
That's an interesting piece.
A quiver.
That is really beautiful.
Made out of mountain lion. It's got the mountain lion
And the
feet and
beading,
claws
the
and
work on, yeah, and beaded down the whole tail. But the tail is, and the legs are the quiver.
the tail and the legs are the quiver.
And yeah,
And it
and then the front legs, it looks like is the shoulder strap.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
I've
think
never
it's
seen
just
I've never seen a
gorgeous.
quiver like that. Usually it's just a leather strap and
know.
and a little pouch,
Yeah.
but that's
That's pretty fancy. It had to have belonged to somebody important.
Important, yeah.
Yeah.
well, it looks like they had room to carry the bow
Yeah.
over their shoulder and and the arrows and everything else.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
I kind of wonder if it could have maybe been used as an atlatl quiver.
Could be. Who knows?
Just I'm looking at the length. The longbow wouldn't have fit in the section that looks like where the bow would fit, but an atlatl handle would have.
This is a,
That would have been for the arrows. But right, but look at this right here. This is open for
oh yeah. Yeah, it's coming down.
yeah, for something to slide down in there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hard to tell.
I wasn't there to see how they used it.
No.
Wouldn't have that been cool? Then you've got a lot of arrowheads, saber-toothed tiger,
Yeah.
a saber-toothed tiger skull.
This collection, some of a lot of this was found in Sweetgrass County. The majority of this was found in Sweetgrass County on a couple of ranches. But this was all set up by Larry Loren from Livingston.
Okay.
And he had a master's degree in archaeology, and he helped this museum get this all set up, and he spent a good portion of his money, doing the posters, and he and his friend, Jerry Brecky. Just wonderful people, wonderful. And Larry passed away this summer.
Why are these red?
Well, he found the Anzik site. And it was a burial site. And these are not the actual instruments.
Okay.
These are casts of what was found.
Okay.
And the red ochre was used ceremonially by the Indians.
Okay.
And we did this to show how many times these pieces have to be chipped
Okay.
to get the shape,
When you're doing the flint napping.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is amazing. That is really a cool display. Mm-hmm. And then again, you have some more of these hinds.
These are Jack Heinz's progression.
You've got one
yeah.
of a mammoth hunt, and another one of some natives overlooking a valley where.
There's another tribe.
Is that another tribe?
Yeah.
It looked like there
Two
was a
black
flag
feet,
at the front
yeah.
that I was trying to figure out. But yeah.
It looks like it says it's 2 black feet at the top, and shows some of the Mustangs brought in by the Spaniards.
Okay.
And the Absarokas, it must be down on the plain, down on the bottom.
Okay.
But look at the eagles.
Detail is
and
phenomenal.
the eagles are hawks up there against the mountainside.
It's
and
beautiful.
these are all actual places.
Wow.
The first one and the last one are the Crazy Mountains. These two are Sheep Mountain from the west side and looking at it from the east side.
Okay.
And this is, Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark. It's again very detailed, fantastic picture.
He was just fabulous. Very, very realistic.
I really like his art. I like the coloring.
He did a lot of Western art. But then they both did a lot of art in Italy too.
Okay.
Beautiful stuff in Italy. But he helped George Kramer, who had a ranch near Melville, keep the pipeline from coming through his land because of the archaeological history.
Wow.
And there's a little bit more here about it.
Okay.
Montana Power Company gas pipeline. And then
What year was that?
82.
Oh, yep, it says 82.
Yeah, but then like Larry Loren made this for George, and it's an actual
Spear point.
obsidian.
Obsidian
Yeah.
spear point.
Yeah, and it's a replica of how they would have been made.
Wow.
But Larry got a lot of different collections from different people donated here. So we have quite an
There is a lot to
extensive-
see.
Yeah. And these two cases here are local Morris and Dodge collections.
Pipestones.
And he identified it all and you know, the years and the different types of material used. And
This
this is all just found here.
This is a really neat display. With you've got a picture of a buffalo
Jump.
jump,
Yeah.
and you've got timelines. You've got all kinds of neat stuff in here. This is really cool.
Yeah, there is a buffalo jump north of town. We used to go out there and picnic when I was a kid, and we'd find little pieces of arrowheads and buffalo
really?
horns, yeah. But it's all private property now, so.
And then you've got some school uniforms over here.
Yeah, this is
The cheerleaders.
Backside is our school display. This is Jessica Zemsky's, Jack's wife's work. These here
Okay.
are 3 of the different schoolhouses and school pictures. Helen Clark is that one. Janet Gross, Danielle Zirkle, the different people would donate. And these are 3 of Jessica's too.
Okay. So Jack's wife was an artist also.
Oh, she was
And her
fabulous.
art's
Yeah.
a lot different. It's more of
She
a
used gouache, he did oil.
Okay, there you go.
And hers is very, it's not as
Detailed.
but she catches the spirit and stuff of
Yes.
the painting, in the paintings. Yeah, and we play her video when we're open.
Okay.
We play it on this. And then that one, there's a video on that bookcase. That's Larry Laren's collection. And we play a video of his stuff.
Okay,
on that
now
TV.
I'll make a note here that we are not open.
Yeah.
The museum is open from Memorial Day through Labor Day, usually,
From now on, it's to the end of September for now.
to the end of
We
September.
might extend it even further. We're just playing it by ear.
And you're open what days of the
Every
week?
day.
Every day of the
Every
week?
day, 10 to 4:30, Sundays,
Okay.
1 to 4:30. So, yeah,
Okay.
we're open every day.
And then you've got a barber. This is barber bar. It looks like a bar.
It's a barbershop bar.
Barbershop bar.
Yeah.
And you've got a really nice female hat display.
Yeah. These were fun. We took those styrofoam heads and paper mache them.
Oh,
and
really?
painted 'em. Yeah. The gal who does our sessions, Kate, she helped me. She painted all these. See, I love this. They would throw the hair in there.
Okay.
They'd save the hair.
A little foot pedal that opens the bottom of the cabinet door to put the hair in.
But this is a picture of it, and you can see this is only
okay.
this is only one section.
Right.
We don't have this top fancy piece.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was twice as big as this. We've got another big, huge piece of marble upstairs, and I think another one of these, but we don't have the whole complete back bar.
You got the barber chair.
The barber chair, yeah.
And then a lot of school pictures.
69 school districts in the
What?
county at one time. Yeah,
69?
And like several of them, starting with the Big Timber public schools and then going. But some of them were combined.
Right.
Lower Dry Fork and
They
Dry
were all
Fork.
one room schoolhouses
Yeah.
and
This is the one my daddy went to. It's a tar paper.
I was going to
shack.
say it just looks like a tar paper shack.
And when we were growing up, that was still out there on the hillside and out north of town.
Really?
On Hamilton Creek, yeah.
Wow.
But it's gone. It's gone now. Someone finally took it out. But it just blew us away that was his schoolhouse. Some of them are beautiful, nicely made schoolhouses. Others were little log cabins.
Right.
And
then you've got a really interesting picture here. Linda, I'd like a picture of that one.
Oh yeah, moving.
They're moving the schoolhouse with horse teams.
So cool.
Yeah, they've got 2 big horse teams and or mule teams.
Yeah, it's
And,
mules, it looks like, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it does look like mules. And they're moving the schoolhouse in 1915.
Isn't that something else?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we
There-
were talking about how did they move these houses, and there's the documentation.
One of our little churches in town was a schoolhouse that was moved into town from out in the county.
Really?
There are a couple of houses in town that were moved in that used to be schoolhouses.
Wow.
And then, you know, they would add on to them. I know one house my grandparents lived in was a little one-room house, and then they added an old chicken coop onto one side for a porch, and, you know, it was added onto in pieces with other little buildings.
Right.
So,
Okay, now you've got something here that's really kind of confusing to me. And I'm just going to say I have always been confused by this. Not that I know that it's not normal, but
Right.
we have a pelican out in the middle of the mountains. We have freshwater pelicans, and we have them in Wyoming too. And I see them all the time. It just blows my mind to see pelicans.
every summer you see the pelicans on the Yellowstone River.
Yeah.
And I'm sure other rivers in
And
the
on a
state.
lot of the lakes and stuff too. And it's just kind of one of those things. The first time I saw them, I thought, boy, those guys got lost. And then
I know it. and seagulls. We'll
yeah.
see seagulls.
Oh yeah. We'll have herds of seagulls.
Yeah.
I know it's really flocks, but
Yeah,
it might as well be a herd.
yeah. And this is one of the back bars from
Okay.
a saloon
Okay.
bar in town. Yeah.
Then you've got a really nice stage wagon, touring wagon.
Stagecoach, yeah. It started
Was
out
that a Yellowstone?
It started out as a Yellowstone,
Yellowstone.
touring coach. Then it went to Hunter's Hot Springs
Okay.
when that was a big resort, and they would send it down to the railroad tracks, and they would pick up guests off of the train and haul them up to the Hunter's Hot Springs resort.
Okay.
It was a sanatorium, however you want to
The
pronounce
TB.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the mineral waters, you know.
Right.
The hot mineral waters.
Would help, yeah.
Yeah, health. And then it was bought by the Donald Ranch, and they ran it in a couple of parades, and yeah.
That's cool.
So, but they're big proponents for our museum too. Lots of help.
And then you've got a lot of just household items,
Yeah, this is
scissors,
Kellogg.
needle holders.
Losby Kellogg families with their genealogy.
Now, the Kellogg family, is that part of the
That was the mercantile in town.
That was okay, but it's not part
the
of
Kellogg's. I don't think
Okay.
the cornflakes. I don't think
Right,
so.
okay, that's
But
where I
they
was
had
that's where I was
a
headed.
big mercantile in town. Big stone building.
Okay.
Beautiful box.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yes.
You can move that. You can move this book.
You've got some steins and some more silver
This is from the
silver pieces.
Pistol Rifle Club.
Oh,
These are all trophies.
those are the trophies
Mm-hmm.
and pins, medals.
Yeah, and we've got tons more of this upstairs, of these medals in boxed frames.
Now this was
Yeah.
club that was just local, or
It
did they
is.
compete
It's still local.
statewide? Oh, they still have it going.
Yeah, this is still a club that's got members in it right now, but it was started, I think 1912, and now it's the Rifle and Gun Club.
Somebody's a good shot back here.
I know
Look
it.
at that.
Bullseye in every one of them.
Wow. And then you've got
That's our sheep
probably
industry.
one of the best sheep displays I've seen. You've got the old hand crank shears. You've got
My kids' grandpa had a
a
shearing
bale of
crew, and their father sheared, but this was Grandpa's last bale of wool.
Oh,
that
really?
he sheared.
Wow.
Did you all know Dale Agard?
No,
He was a sheep shearer,
yeah.
and he traveled all over the country.
Well, these guys, it was a family thing. Grandpa and his brother and their kids and, nephews and cousins and, yeah.
You guys had a woolen mill here? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
Look at the pictures of this.
Yeah.
All the
You know where Main Street,
looms and-
McLeod Street ends and then turns to go up Boulder Valley? It sat right there at the end.
wow.
But when
So
the
they would
interstate went
process
through,
all they would make yarn, or did they make blankets?
they made blankets.
They made blankets.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool.
It was the coolest building too, but we didn't dare go near it because the old guy that owned the property lived there.
Oh, yeah.
And he was called Pack Rat Andy. And he would threaten to shoot you.
Really?
So all the kids were too scared to go. Nobody messed at his place, so.
You've got a drum carter, an old drum carter. Wow, spinning wheels.
Mm-hmm.
This is really neat. The last of the bull teams, 1892. 72 bulls, 96,000 pounds of wool.
Shipped out of here.
Wow.
We were the wool capital of the world at one time.
Really?
They shipped more wool out. And this is where a lot of your Norwegian families came, was because of the sheep and the wool, the shearing, sheep herders, you know, a lot of the Norwegian population.
That is just an
Yes.
amazing picture. I
Isn't that
love
wonderful?
that. Oh,
Yeah.
man. And they hauled them all out of here with ox teams or bull teams, it
Yeah,
says.
yeah,
But, wow.
yeah.
This is just,
See, and this is a smaller version of that picture. 92 hit. Oh, this says this might be a different one.
102,000.
102,000 pounds. Who knows?
1892, and this one here is 1892
So it's the
also.
same thing, yeah, but it's different people giving you the stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teams lined up at the wool house.
And that
Just-
was down by the railroad tracks.
It's interesting that they were using bulls or oxen or whatever
Mm-hmm.
at the time instead of using mules, because
Well, I think this one has mules.
yeah,
This one did.
that one
But
does.
look at how big these ones are. And then you go to the trucking.
Right, and then it burned.
Oh, the wool house burned down a couple of different times. So now it was on this side of the McLeod Street, and now it's way down past the grain elevators, and it's a brick building.
Are they still doing anything with sheep?
Oh yeah, oh
So
yeah, oh yeah.
do they
We
still
still have a wool house that they stack wool in, and
But
Oh,
they don't-
really?
They don't process it like this anymore.
no, this is local stuff. This is a local gal dyeing with different plants and
That's really cool.
things.
Yeah.
And those are like the branding. They paint brand them. It's kind of hard to see with this stuff on top.
Right.
And someone said, well, and I even thought, oh my God, your hands are going to wear out. And they said, no, those were so sharp that they would just slide through.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they would
So
slide.
they weren't
No, they
the
would
big
just,
sheep shearing scissors or clippers is what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
And,
a lot of us
okay.
use them for gardening now.
right.
Yeah.
And then this one was the crank.
The hand crank
As
shear.
you crank it, these would, go back and forth.
Right.
Now they're
Ju-
electric.
They're electric
Yeah.
sheep shears, yeah.
Now
But
they're
this one here
electric, and
was
she
hand
took a-
crank.
Yeah, picture of that.
I did.
That
Yeah,
is
that shows
Yeah.
them using it.
And then you've got a rodeo.
This is the Kramer Rodeo display, and this museum sits on land donated by the Kramer family.
Okay.
This was pasture land, and they donated the land for the building of the museum.
Wow.
And our big saddle isn't here right now at the moment. Leo Kramer had as fancy an outfit as Trigger and Roy Rogers had.
And they're pictured together right
Yeah.
here.
Leo Kramer on Murphy and Roy Rogers on Trigger.
Now, was Roy Rogers here in Big Timber?
No, but Gene Autry was.
Oh,
but
really?
They were friends. I mean, they.
Right.
Of course, he did rodeos all across the country, even in Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Yeah, he started out as providing
The livestock.
the
yeah.
livestock, and then pretty soon he's running. Yeah.
Okay, so he was hauling stuff all around.
And the family still does the local rodeo each year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they still providing stock? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And organizing, yeah.
Wow, this is
And then this is the sheriff's, and this is John Frost that I was talking about.
okay.
He was an undersheriff in 1915. And then that's his wife, Medicine Shield, Amelia. But he's, see, you can see he's definitely native.
Right.
Very, dedicated man. Was in the military and ranched and, worked for the sheriff's office and moved prior.
Huh.
And then this is a little bit of display about Plenty Coups himself.
Okay.
I love how the different spellings, different name spellings. COOS, and it was COUP and everything else.
Right.
Yeah. But this is our sheriff's department. And one deputy was killed in the line of duty. This sheriff was shot when he was killed, and he recovered. And then his brother was killed at Melville trying to break up a fight.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So.
This is really nice museum. I like the way you've got everything displayed, and
Thanks.
you got so much detail in every little corner that.
You could spend hours in here reading and looking
easy.
at everything, and a lot of people don't have the time for all of that. And here's another one of Jack's paintings with the
Okay.
mining, and that shows up the Boulder Valley. Are you familiar with the lion and the mouse?
I am not.
Okay, this is going up the Boulder Valley. Just below that, there's a old ranger station that is a museum now.
Okay.
And then there was a dude ranch that was there. But that's called the Lion and the Mouse because it looks like a head of a lion, and then there's a rock outcrop in front that was the mouse.
Okay.
And down on the other side of the river, there's a ranch called Lionhead
Okay.
across from it.
And then you've got some mining display. Now, what were they mining here?
They are currently mining now platinum and palladium. It's
really?
Palladium.
Okay.
Stillwater has a mine at Nye and up the East Boulder, and it's a reef that goes all the way across the mountains.
Okay.
All the way across the mountains. This is the East Boulder, and this is Nye, above Columbus.
Okay.
And but right now they're having
still
some
mining.
issues, so. And this is Doc Ivy's medical collection.
You've got some old medicine bottles.
Yeah.
You've got instruments. You've got an X-ray tube.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting looking. It's got a ball with a couple of protrusions. I'm not sure how
I
they
know
all
it,
work.
and you see this end is broke off, so I'm wondering if
Right.
it didn't have the same kind of end coming out.
Right. And then you've got a surgical kit for amputating and lots of tweezers and
Even
DC
recipes.
generator, 1854. That must have been for shock
I
therapies.
think so. I love the recipes.
Oh,
Stomach troubles.
okay.
La Grippe Cure. Rheumatic remedy. There's a rheumatic cure and a rheumatic remedy. This one never fails.
That one never fails. And then you've got some bleeder knives. I've never seen those.
Isn't that icky?
Yeah, yeah. But that's
Yeah.
what they used to think could cure you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, get the bad blood out.
Yeah.
This bottle's full of sarsaparilla.
An
Or
ultrasonic
sarsaparilla.
generator.
Isn't that crazy? Cures constipation, grape tonic.
And a dentist chair.
That came from Hunter's Hot Springs. They had doctors and dentists up there, and it was a full facility up there.
That's funny.
Isn't that funny?
And then you've got a saddle collection, shaft collection. Wow, look at all these shafts.
We had a stable built. You know, we've added on different money-making projects, and then we had a stable built, but we got mice in it and had to bring all the saddles back in here. So they kind of go with the Shap collection.
The Shap collection is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You see Shaps in different museums where they've got one or two, you know, a set of woolly Shaps or something. But you've got
This
you've
is
got buffalo hide. This is buffalo, isn't it?
I think it's just your
Wow.
woolies. I don't know what they're made of. That
I don't know.
Woolies.
Well, I guess it's the same kind of thing. Woolly.
I think they're a special kind of cattle
Or sheep.
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 Either
yeah.
or. Angora or those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just leather Shaps and wow.
Well, look at how
ornate
fancy.
with
Look at this guy's name or his nickname.
runt. Wow.
But yeah.
And they're short Shaps.
Yeah, and look how fancy some of them are. Some
With
of them
the-
are very utilitarian, and others are really dressy.
Yeah, this is just amazing. You
Have
don't
you seen the
don't
Shaps
see this.
bull riders wear now? I
Yeah.
mean, there are fancy colors and
And,
everything.
yeah.
This was Joe.
This was working.
Yeah, this is Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, and look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's another one of Jack Heinz's paintings. And these are from the cattle drive that they had in, what was it? 89.
89.
I can't keep dates and names in my
They
head.
just had a whole lot of they did an open range cattle drive. Is that what they did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was for the centennial.
Okay. Amazing. Did
Yeah.
you see all the Shaps, Linda?
Headed in there.
Oh
She's
man.
headed there.
I'm headed.
Yeah, and this was Hunter's Hot Springs. It was a sanitarium resort. Hot springs pools, and they had a golf course, and it was pretty fancy until it burned down.
Up until it burned down. I was going to say, it's not there anymore, is it?
No insurance.
Oh, man.
There was still a pool when we were kids. We still would go swim in the pool, and it was a great big metal roofed building. And the pool was huge, and it was hot. It was really hot. But the earthquake in the park changed the temperature. We had 1, 2, 3.
Is that the one that caused Quake Lake?
Quake Lake, yeah.
Okay.
We had 3 or 4 hot springs, different areas around here, and it changed them all.
Really? Mm-hmm. Huh.
Yeah. But it's from what we've been told, they're whoever owns the property now is trying to rebuild it, so we'll see.
That's cool.
Yeah. But they even shipped bottled water, natural mineral water.
Oh.
Not a neat box.
That's a big box. Yeah, it's a nice size box.
But it would be heavy.
Oh, yeah, when it was full of bottles of water. Mm-hmm. And you've got your 1915 Model T.
Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was driven here
Into the
museum.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
They made them so much easier to work on than they got now.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Oh, Lord.
You pop the hood, you can't even tell where a spark plug might
I
be.
had some work done on my Ford pickup just recently, and oh my gosh. He was showing me you had to replace a spark plug wire, and it's like, how in the world do you even get your hands in there?
Yeah.
There's so much stuff under there.
Well, now you've got your diorama as you come in of the town in 1909, and you have 1907. You've got one single car.
One car.
Then
in
we've
town.
got a picture on this wall in 1915, and you've got a whole Ford dealership with.
They would ship them in, and the dealers would come pick them up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they would be shipped in, and the dealers, they might not all be coming here to Big Timber, but the dealers would pick them up. That's at the Wool House.
That's at the Wool House.
That's at the Wool House,
Okay.
down there on the rail.
That's a neat old picture.
Yeah, it is really cool.
You've got some really.
And that's the same car. You can even see it's the same. The lights are the same.
Right.
The hood ornaments.
Yeah.
Or the temperature gauge thing, I guess
Yeah.
it is. You know, and the way the lights are. That one's got added.
Yeah. How cool.
Yeah, someone added a side mirror and a side light and a horn.
And a horn.
And we don't let kids touch this. And one old guy honked this. I almost popped him. I said, rubber.
The rubber.
Rubber gets hard,
Yeah.
and someone's going to come along and do it and squish the bulb.
Oh no! Did he ruin it?
No, but some old guy
He should know
punked
better.
it. Well, yeah, and it says, please do not touch, but some old guy did it. Kids don't touch it because their parents won't let them.
Good.
And then you've got some really neat coats in here.
This is a buffalo.
That one's buffalo.
That's beaver.
Oh, that one's beaver.
Yeah, a raccoon. And then there's gloves over there too, and I'm not sure what they're made out of.
Wow. Those are nice coats.
Aren't they neat? I like this.
And they're setting
like
over
that
the seat of the Model T because I'm
and
sure
the
it was probably
interior-
cold.
The interior and the covered top, those have been redone. You can
Right.
tell. But it's the original floor mats. Say forward.
That's amazing. Batteries.
And no door on this side. You had to get in on the passenger side. This door doesn't open.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it's-
Have you ever noticed, this is just a stupid notice thing of me, on Mayberry with Andy Griffith, they always get in on the passenger side and slide over to the driver's side.
Never paid attention.
I can't
I'll have
figure,
to-
there's a door there, but they always get in on the passenger side and slide
I
across
wonder
the
if
seat.
that was because of the camera angle or what?
I have no idea.
Well, that's interesting. I'll have to watch now.
It's just kind of funny.
That is.
So, anyway, well, we've covered pretty much everything inside. Now, you have several outbuildings here. When we're driving down the highway in the summer, you see a big teepee that you keep up all.
Yeah, and that disintegrated, and we were given a new teepee, thank gosh, because they cost a lot. But then the guys decided we need new poles too.
Oh,
So we haven't put it up yet because
okay.
I'm not in charge of teepee poles. Somebody else is going to get teepee poles, not me.
And then you've got a couple of other outbuildings.
Yeah, and we've got a 1912 schoolhouse that a lot of people think is a little church because it has a bell tower.
Okay, I kind of thought it was.
Yeah.
In
And then our
passing.
stable, which has one room is storage. The stable is now a tool shed.
Okay.
All sorts of cool tools. And well, we got another old stove, old heating stove, potbelly stove, and other stuff in there. And then the Fieri homestead cabin, Orvin Fieri that built the diorama, his family's homestead cabin.
Okay.
But that was another. We had to go do grants and get,
Now, is this
raise
the log
money.
building that's over here?
That's a Norwegian stabur.
Okay,
that was-
now I need to know what a Norwegian stabor is.
And that was built by the local Sons of Norway Lodge.
Okay.
And it's a replica of a storage building. And it's on piers off the ground,
Okay.
so it's open air underneath. The sides cantilevered out, so animals can't get in the building. And it was for food storage.
Oh.
Upstairs, food storage, and I guess sometimes animal food storage in the bottom part.
Okay, now I need to describe this a little bit. This is a log building, and it's probably, I'm going to guess 20 by 20, 15 by 15. It's a fair sized building, but the walls come up about 6 to 8 feet tall, and then it jets out another 3 feet and has
goes
like a
up.
cabin on top.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting looking
And?
because it's like they wanted extra room upstairs after they built their cabin downstairs is what it looks
Yeah,
like.
a
But the
sod
food
roof.
storage,
A sod roof.
it does have a sod roof.
Yeah.
And I did not see the lawnmower up on top to
No.
mow the lawn. So the lawn's fairly tall.
There used to be a goat sitting up on top,
Oh,
but
was
the
there?
weather kind of got to him, and he hasn't been replaced. The goat would keep the grass down.
That's cute.
But the goat's 15 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he would have jumped there
I was
from
going
another
to
building
say
or,
it's a goat.
or,
He
the,
would
or the mountainside.
a goat would have just crawled up the side.
Yeah. Are you losing your bag there?
Well, it was getting too heavy on my back.
Oh, I know it. They do, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really, really
Our
interesting,
Melville
Jeannie.
post office, when they got a brand new little post office. It was one of those little buildings that they bring in and park it and little.
So
they
it's
gave
got
us
all the old boxes
some
with
of
the
yeah,
with
but
the
no
turn
combinations.
combinations.
We don't have any combinations.
That's okay. You can get to it from the backside.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sat in somebody's garage for quite a while, so I had to do a lot of vacuuming inside.
Somebody had patience. You probably figure out when.
Oh yeah, I don't.
No.
I'm not very patient. But yeah, Irvin and Sigrid Fieri, this was he was a miniaturist
Right.
who sold miniatures across the country at miniature shows.
Okay.
And this was his display case for the miniature shows.
Okay.
And he's the one that built the diorama.
And this is of
And this was a cottage
Scarlett
industry.
O'Hara's?
Yeah, Tara. Yeah. Tara, however you want to tell it. But it was a cottage industry after he retired from the government.
Wow.
That's cool.
And he was the one that was famous for saying, what do I say all the time?
Rhett.
No.
No.
Anyway,
Rhett and
never
Scarlett?
mind. Yeah, they had
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a
frankly,
damn.
my damn, I don't give a dear.
Oh,
There we go.
okay.
I had it before I started to say it, but
know it. I do that too.
it just slips.
My tongue gets forgetful.
Yes, I had to mess that one up a little bit.
He
but-
sold a lot of this stuff. A lot of people in town still have some of his miniatures. That little Wooten desk over there on the bottom, on the left, $1,000.
Wow.
And that was in, what, 80s and 90s? That's a lot of money. I know.
It's amazing the details to these
That little
miniatures.
table there has a price tag of $125 on the bottom of it.
Really?
Can you imagine?
It's a little checkerboard
Yeah, I see
table.
that.
What you would
And,
have to pay now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But how much time does a man have in something like that? I mean,
Yeah.
the detail, the carving, the everything else. If you're trying to put it into an hourly deal, he has to have in that one little table and the two
Oh,
chairs.
yeah, hours.
He's got probably 10, 12, 14 hours in that thing.
Yeah, that piano is a replica of a family's upright piano here in town. I love that little desk in the corner because it's a little table. If you close it, if you open it, it's a desk and a chair.
Isn't that
Oh,
cute?
wow.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and they said he got all of his clock parts because there's 3 clocks: a grandfather, a wall clock, and then a little mantle clock from one of the local drugstores. He'd buy the watches,
Oh,
buy a brand new watch, and use them in the clocks.
and they would work.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
It
cool.
is so pretty. But the back wall sconces have given out. We've only got 2 light bulbs left in the chandelier, and we were told when they go, you have to buy the whole new chandelier.
Oh.
Yeah. We don't get to buy little bitty light bulbs and replace them.
I wonder if there's a way to redo that.
I don't know.
There's got to be a way.
But it's so
Day and
cool,
age,
isn't it?
yeah.
It is.
And a bullet shell casing for the light for the
Oh.
portrait.
Yeah.
For the portrait lighting.
Isn't that
That
awesome?
is funny.
Ingenuity.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He had to spend nights.
But see, that's where their collaboration, Bev Josephson was the miniature painter, and she did all the painting for him before they
Okay.
did this.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Well, this has just been absolutely fascinating, Jeannie. I appreciate
you.
you showing up on
Well-
a Saturday morning when you're closed
Yeah.
to show us around. I've been wanting to get back to this museum for years, and,
And
like
we
I said,
do
I just
tours
haven't
while
done.
we're closed. We do.
If people call, you're willing
Yeah,
to.
yeah. I've got to fix the sign out there. We had that Roger Brooks here in town. He says, closed is not very friendly. You need to have it say something like, sorry we missed you, and you know,
Right.
I had phone numbers listed on the sign, but I took them off, and I'm going to change it, peel off those letters and repaint it.
Well, it's nice that you open up at other times for people and some of that.
One the gal
you can
who
look
does
you
our
up-
taxes here, she had family in town, so yeah, come on down. Well, you know, your family can come in.
Right.
Yeah, we do that because it just helps, and we live on donations. That's how we survive.
And museums are having a really tough time right now.
Well-
COVID really messed with
And
museums.
what was so funny Our numbers were way down, but we would have 0 days where we'd sit here all day and nobody'd come in. During COVID, we didn't have any 0 days.
Really?
From Memorial Day to Labor Day. We had less numbers, but we got more money, more donations.
That is
We have
interesting.
people come in and they walk right by our little donation box and just totally ignore it. And we don't say anything because, you know, it's free will donation.
Right.
But that's how we stay open. Of course, we've got investments, thank God, to a gentleman who was on the board. He's the one that got me on the board. And when his ranch sold, we got the money from the sale of his ranch.
Oh.
But it's all invested so we can pay the bills off the interest from the money earned from all those investments.
You are lucky as far as a museum.
Because we had just had one of those kind of endowments before. An older lady who had the cows.
That's cute.
That statue down there. We had just run out of her money. Because we've got insurance. We've got to keep this building heated all winter long. They used to keep the parking lot plowed, but I don't mess with that. I'll climb over drifts. This front doorway stays pretty clear. I'll climb over drifts to come in and check things. But, you know, our insurance is out of sight.
Oh, I bet.
And we're only insured for $2 million. There's more than that here.
Oh, yes.
To replace
yes.
it? Oh, I should show you. People keep bringing us stuff, and you can't say no.
Can we see?
We can see. You can't say no. If you do, then nobody's going to start. They're going to stop.
They're going to stop. Oh,
They're
yeah.
going to stop bringing you their family treasures.
That's
And I'm a hoarder. I admit it. My house is full of collections.
yeah.
We got 3 pianos in here. There's one there. This we thought we were getting a treasure because it's a player piano. Every hose in it is brittle as all get out. So it's not a treasure.
It needs to be rebuilt.
It's not a treasure unless we can find some philanthropist who's going to pay for fixing all the air hoses.
And that's expensive.
Yeah, and a whole box of the rolls. It would have been so cool.
Would have been.
Then
And a harp. Check
there
out the
was a
harp.
lady in town that played the harp. She'd take it down to the court bar and play music.
Take a picture of that, Linda.
We know somebody who harps.
Yes.
fixes
Some
harps.
good friends of ours.
Yeah, see, and you can see their string's broken because it was stored until a family that had been storing it decided to bring it out here. So we had to put a mannequin with her. you know.
Right. Yeah, one of my good friend's daughters is into harps, and I think she opened up a harp shop
She did.
in
gives
Idaho
lessons.
Falls.
Oh,
she gives
cool.
lessons and all
She
that.
fixes them too.
Oh, I think they're beautiful. That's such a gorgeous sound. Have you seen that gal on, I think she's on TikTok. She's got the little harp on a strap, and she does rock.
I think I have. I think I
Harp.
did see one of those.
It's awesome. The local newspaper office had to move.
Oh no.
They gave us all of their old. We've got some of the bound copies, not all of them. We've got all of them. What the post office, what the Pioneer office had now.
Amazing.
Wow.
And this is so cool because this is 1916 and 17.
Yeah.
We don't have that. This
1881.
This is
there's a Chinese paper in here.
very careful though when you touch it.
Oh, they do fall apart.
Just amazing.
Isn't that something?
It is.
We had 2 pharmacies in town when I was a kid. There's 2 brothers just brought us the local soda fountain that was in the pharmacy.
Okay.
And there's a picture on the end that shows it all put together. But how are we going to say no to that?
You're not.
know.
But you had said earlier that you've got some additional plans, hopefully,
We've got
in
a
the
grant
works.
writer. We're working on grants, But isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
It is.
And the stuff that goes with the soda fountain.
Cool.
Yeah. And then, people say, do you need a display case? Well, we're gonna.
You're gonna.
We're gonna.
Is this a player too?
No. But it's a family. Nobody in the family wanted it. They gave us a dresser and 1 chair and that piano. Well, we put the dresser in the cabin.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
It is.
It was the 3rd oldest piano in Montana.
Oh, really?
brought out here by a family.
On a wagon?
On a wagon, I'm sure.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Nobody wanted it.
No. Well, there's so many now, and they're all scattered, and it's easier to give to museums than have family fights.
Well, and pianos, nobody wants them anymore.
Nobody
They used to
wants
be the
pianos.
hot item.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
We
50
all had
years
to take
ago, everybody
lessons.
wanted a piano in their
Yeah.
house, and now nobody, you can't
Yeah.
give the things away.
And fabulous file cabinets, you know.
Right.
Oh, those, yeah, we got more archaeological stuff back there.
Look at this washing machine. It's awesome. It's in good shape.
Yeah.
Oh, an old copper washing machine.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, that is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at these keys and everything.
Yeah.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah, but you know, like we got.
All these.
Yeah.
And then you said you're also a genealogy.
Yeah. And look at
Oh,
more and more.
all the cool stuff.
Yeah. This is one of those map cabinets, but we had to use it for this.
Yeah.
You
Use
know.
what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But luckily, the fish, the Forest Service outfit gave us these because they're all digital now. They didn't need these.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we can take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is all archaeological stuff. All this,
So cool.
and then this was all of those books in that one book cabinet. I'm not throwing away boxes. They come in
Not
handy.
those. Those are good storage.
They come in handy. But you know, people give us beautiful. When we get our classroom, those file cabinets are going in our classroom.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that piano.
Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, and one of the gals on our board says, oh, now wait a minute, you're going to take my grand piano that was my grandmother's. Yeah. I think something came undone when they were moving this, because it looks like there was something to hold that up.
Yeah, probably.
So, otherwise your paper's going to fall off.
Right.
So I'm going to have to but look at patented 1882.
That's just beautiful.
It is.
I wouldn't have been able to say no to that. Somebody asked me if I wanted that piano.
Oh no,
I would take it.
I've got a piano at my house from the old American Legion
That's
hall,
crazy.
because my daughter wanted to take piano lessons, and it's got a great big crack in the soundboard.
I had to buy one when I was in college.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
that's
lot of
okay.
money.
Oh, I know it.
And now-
then, kids don't even know this.
Oh,
is.
the
Those
records, yeah.
That's so cool.
Oh, that
How
is-
fun is that? Gosh, that's beautiful.
This is an old Zenith cabinet.
yeah.
It's got the old
Someone
radio
said,
in
"Do you
it.
suppose we can get it rewired?"
Yes. I'll bet it'll work just
Oh
fine.
yeah.
And then you need some of the old 78 records to play on it.
And needles.
Oh yeah. And check out this.
That's safe.
Safe.
Yeah,
That's out of
one of the
Citizen.
old round safes.
That's out of Citizens Bank downtown.
Yeah. Those things are, you can't even move the thing.
Oh Lord,
Yeah, it has wheels.
it has wheels, but yeah, wow. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I wonder how many people have tried to get into that.
We had these all in we have a Fiber Fest every year.
Okay.
In the Civic Center, which is the old high school auditorium.
Okay.
And so we had these panels at the Fiber Fest show with the shearing.
With
and
all the
stuff.
shearing pictures.
Yeah, and then some of Melville pictures.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is-
And look at those two fabulous chairs. Those were in one of the old lawyers' offices.
Those are nice chairs.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
I used to have a buggy just like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But this is here. This all goes with the,
With the soda fountain.
yeah. And that's how it looked when we were in high school. We'd go down to the local soda fountain and have a Green River or, yeah, black and white.
Wow. This is a tile backboard that fits inside
Yeah.
of the panels.
Yeah. Yeah.
That she's showing us right now.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. And they hauled that all the way down to California and made a special trip from California to Big Timber, Montana to bring it back.
Wow.
To bring it back.
That is cool.
Yeah, and some old guy rescued this out of a ranch dump. Some woman had painted it, and it was the West Boulder Reserve. And the guy, whoever bought the place, didn't own it, and he was supposed to throw it away, so he took it
Huh.
and kept it till
That's a nice painting.
till he got sick and brought it to us.
It's got some aspens and pine trees and a teepee. And,
It's beautiful.
and it's a bifold or trifold.
Trifold, yeah.
Yeah, trifold
Painting,
painting. That's interesting.
yeah. There's our clock. It was done in '95, painted by Alice Flynn, West
Okay.
Boulder Reserve.
Well, Jeannie, I think we're about done here. And this has
We had
been
lots of good fun.
fantastic. I've had a lot of fun here. This is a fantastic museum, and people need to stop by. They need to slow down a little bit on Interstate 90. I know the speed limit's 80 miles an hour, but slow down, stop into Big Timber, take a look around, and definitely hit this museum. This Crazy Mountain Museum is just crazy.
It is crazy.
It's great.
And we've got a fabulous quilt store downtown and an art gallery, and actually 2 art galleries downtown on Main
Okay.
Street. And, you know,
It's a cute town.
It is.
fabulous
It's
stuff.
really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
We still have one of the drugstores, our remaining drugstore still serves blueberry or blackberry milkshakes and huckleberry milkshakes and, you know, ice cream
In town.
in town.
Okay.
Sweetgrass Pharmacy.
Well, I guess we're going back into town anyway. We were going to, like, what was it that we saw yesterday that we said that we had to come back into town to see? There was a reason we were going to go back,
it's
and
a- it's a Saturday,
there was a
so
business that
It's open.
there was a business that we saw that we were going to have to come. Oh, they had a whole bunch of yard ornaments.
Oh yeah, the ornaments.
The yard
Okay,
ornament
do
store.
not wear a bag or a backpack because it's, you want to talk hoarding?
They're hoarders.
The lady that owns the place, you barely have room to get in between all these little nooks and crannies and corners, but it's great. There's
Well,
fun stuff in there.
That's what it was that we were talking about going to.
That was an old grocery store.
Okay.
And it's, I mean, she's even got all those sheds at the back full.
Wow.
It's just amazing.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I always finish out my podcast by saying the world is full of wonder.
It is.
People need to get out and explore. Make the stop at some of these places on your way to wherever it is you're going. You won't be sorry.
Nope.
And everybody have an absolutely wonder-filled day.
Thank you. Awesome.
All the roll and go, where am I to go? Meet Johnny, where am I to go? For I'm a young and a sailor lad, and where am I to go?